New video time! Guys, I am Yard Offside FM, and it is very nice to see you again. This is episode 1 of The Triumph, my Football Manager 2017 Let's Play series, as Hell's Teeth FC in the Tuvaluan A Division. So, guys, thank you so much for sticking with this channel, sticking with me, and welcome to the very beginning of a brand new save, and I'm hoping this is going to be a really fun long-term save. As I mentioned in the last episode of Giants of Istanbul, which was my previous save as Galatasaray, I talked about how I had been working on a big database update. Well, not a database update per se, but basically a specialized database so that I could play in a really small oceanic country, and that country is Tuvalu, guys. Now, Tuvalu, probably most of you won't have heard of. I hadn't. It is a very, very small chain of island atolls in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, about halfway from Australia to the Hawaiian Islands. Well, not halfway. I think it's more like a third or so from Australia to the Hawaiian Islands. It's very isolated. It's out in the absolute middle of nowhere in the Western Pacific. And I think there's only one airport in the entire country, and the runway for that airport barely fits on the main island. Like, really, you should check out the satellite image. Just go and Google it. It's insane. It's insane that how small this country really is. And only 10,500 people live there. So I can't stress enough the challenge that this save is going to present, because Tuvalu is this tiny, tiny, minuscule little country. And by the way, guys, I've just been reminded, this fun little map widget here, this is a feature built into the skin that I've downloaded. It's called Vitrex. It's by Emil Debsky. I think I found it on FM Scout. I'll look that up and I'll put a link in the description. It's a really awesome skin, guys. I really like the look of it. It's got a really nice feel to it. I'm crazy about this like triple stripe thing in here behind the logo. It's really slick. Anyway, I definitely recommend you guys check it out. So anyway, but Tuvalu, right? It's an incredibly challenging place to try and build a footballing empire, so to speak. I'm just cycling through the different teams in the league because there are different images of Funafuti, which is sort of the main atoll and capital city of the country. Actually, this photo reminds me, Tuvalu is, by average elevation, one of the lowest countries in the world, and they're immediately affected by climate change. So much so that the government of Tuvalu has actually bought a plot of land in Fiji, and they're planning, essentially in the next few decades, to relocate the entire population. Again, it's only 10,000 people, so that again is an indication of how small the country really is. But that's the sort of thing that we're talking about. I think this photo was from after a hurricane or something recently. So anyway, but we don't need to get bogged down talking about climate change and all that. We're just trying to have a bit of fun playing Football Manager. But just to give you some perspective on how challenging this save really is going to be. So as I mentioned, I've done some database work in order to kind of get this thing working, because obviously the Tuvaluan A Division and other domestic competitions in Tuvalu don't come along with FM17. So I've gone and I've created all of these leagues. The Tuvaluan A Division is a real competition in real life. There are only 8 teams in it. It's all amateur teams. I believe it's a single round robin, and they play all of the games over, I think it's like a month or a couple months. So it's really that sort of format I didn't think would be very fun to sort of kind of have a complete replication of real life. So I've added a few more teams. I've created 4 teams just from scratch to make it a 12-team division, and I've made it a double round robin, meaning every team plays each other twice. It's only 22 games per team, but as you may have seen back on these club screens, guys, the reason we have to keep it at 22 is because everybody plays at the same ground, the Tuvalu sports ground. And if you're checking out that map of Tuvalu, like I told you should, on Funafuti, right next to that runway I mentioned, that single airport, this football ground is wedged in between the coast and the runway. Literally in real life, Tuvaluan club teams, if the ground is in use, if the pitch is in use, they will literally practice on the runway. So that's how overwhelmingly challenging this save could turn out to be. Who knows? Maybe it'll be really easy. But so this is what I've been working on. This is what I mentioned back, at the end of that Galatasaray save. This is what I've been sort of tinkering away at with the editor. And, guys, if you want to do a little bit of editor work, definitely check it out. There is a learning curve to it, but, if you can figure it out, you can create really cool stuff like what we're going to be doing in this series. But I'm rambling. I've talked about the league a little bit. I've talked about the database work. I do just want to cover one more thing, guys, before we move completely on. In real life, Tuvalu are not a FIFA member, in large part because that stadium I mentioned earlier is very not up to FIFA code. They can't host internationals there. So they are not a FIFA member. They cannot qualify for the World Cup as is. They are an OFC member, an Oceania Football Confederation member, but they don't compete in the continental domestic competition. But I have gone and edited the database so that Tuvalu are a FIFA member, and they do send teams to the Oceania Champions League, which we are not in this year. But I have replicated the actual real-life format of the Oceania Champions League, aside from messing with the seedings a little bit, so that we send 2 teams. Sorry, that's my ESPN notification. Go Timberwolves. Hopefully they won. So, it's the Oceania Champions League. 2 Tuvaluan teams will go to the group stage. We don't really have to go over that in too much detail, but I do just want to mention before we move on that the Oceania Champions League is a database update that was created by Clausen, who is a consummate worker with the editor. Has a huge pack, a World Leagues pack that he releases on an annual basis. It's just backbreaking work, and I have no idea how he does it. But I'll put a link in the description. Go check it out. He has more than just the O League or the Oceania Champions League. He has all kinds of stuff, and it's really, really amazing. So go check it out. But anyway, let's just go back to this club screen here, because I do want to talk about the team that I've created that we're going to be for this series. Hell's Teeth is one of the 4 clubs that I did create for the Tuvaluan A division to bring it up to 12 teams. They are entirely fictional. As you can see, I've set our colors to be orange, red, and black. And I guess I'm thinking about sort of role-playing this as maybe some somewhat rich business owner from Funafuti is really into, like, Satan or something, and decides, you know what, this is Tuvalu. Me and a few friends can get together and we'll start playing in the Tuvaluan A division. It's an amateur division. I mean, hey, they'll take anybody. We're gonna create a team called Hell's Teeth. It's gonna be a really badass sounding Satan worshipping football team that's gonna get condemned by the Vatican and all sorts of stuff. So this moderately wealthy owner is running a Satanist-themed football club in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's very strange, but this is the beginning of a strange path to glory, because the aim of this series, and thus the name of the series, is to win the Oceania Champions League with Hell's Teeth. And then, if we can, and I don't know if this will be possible, but if we can, win the Club World Cup. Now, that's going to be a huge challenge because the gap in quality of competition between the O-League and the Club World Cup is tremendous. I don't know if we'll ever get there. I don't know if we'll ever manage to boost our reputation enough that we can get the right players at Hell's Teeth. But we're going to try it. We're going to try it. We're going to push for the triumph. We're going to try and do it. We're going to try and beat the odds. God help us, or Satan help us, more accurately speaking. So that is the story behind this series, guys. We can just look at the schedule that we have coming up here. The season that I've set up at least runs from mid-March to the end of December. As I said, 2 games against every other opponent for a 22-game league season. There are a couple cups that we'll run on, but I'm not going to talk about them now because they don't happen until later in the season. But you can see here that our first match is on Wednesday, the 16th of March. It's going to be against Newtow, who I don't believe are a strong-ish team in the division. What is their projected finish? 7th, so that's about mid-table. We'll see what happens because the day that this save has started, which is the 2nd of February, is the last day of the Tuvaluan transfer window. So I will be making some transfers, some last-minute transfers to try and improve the squad. We may be, in or around the mid-table region. I'm hoping to be after those transfers are completed. Maybe even better. But I do just want to go over a few of the random sort of little bits of minutia that you guys are going to see. There are a few, and you know what, let's go back to where we were on that competition screen, because that's going to have the rules for the Tuvaluan A division. One of the major challenges that I've decided to set for myself in this save is a regulation that you can only have 22 players in your first team, and there are no reserves. So this is going to be a difficult challenge because squads are going to be very, very small. I will talk about the reasons that I've done this in a bit, but I wanted to sort of present myself a challenge in terms of squad building, because when you're at the amateur level, it's a little bit more, I guess, Mickey Mouse. There are no transfer fees. You basically just say, hey, do you want to come play for Hell's Teeth? And guys either say yes or no. So one of the challenges is going to be to have a squad that functions and that has the right sort of squad chemistry when there's a limit of 22 people who can actually be registered. Now, one of the reasons that I've given myself such a draconian challenge is that I've let myself go a little bit, so to speak, in the financial area. Hell's Teeth, I've given an overall balance of over £20,000, and because we don't have to pay wages to any of our players, us being an amateur football club, let's go over to projection, we are projected to continue making money, albeit at a relatively slow pace, and this is assuming that we don't win any competitions, which hopefully we will, because I have assigned a modest, minuscule amount of prize money for clubs that win either the Tuvaluan A division or I think the main cup, which is the Christmas Cup. So yeah, there are some challenges that I've given myself for this save. There are some massive benefits that I've given myself for this save, such as the finances. I'm hoping that overall this turns out to be a really fun save. You can have a look here at the squad, guys. I haven't really had a good look at it. I will before we get into the transfers. But we're going to have to make some definite improvements here, because look at this guy here, Lipua. I think Lipua is one of the 2 5-star guys who's actually okay. There, finally he loads up. Yeah, he's not great. He's supposed to be, this is a 5-star sort of player. He's all right. I think he'll get into the starting 11 even after we make a bunch of transfers. But look at Taufia Abia here. I mean, he's just a bag of shit. look at this. He's got pace of 3, and he's a 5-star current ability player. Granted, my assistant coach is a bit of a moron, because this is Tuvalu and the development level and the footballing level is so low. You're gonna have your assistant coach is kind of a dunce, makes bad recommendations. But I mean, look at this guy. This guy Avia is he's complete pants. No way is he 5 stars. He's a defensive center back with heading of 5. I don't know, guys. But yes, we're going to have to make some huge changes. That is going to be in the next episode, because the start of the season is still a month and a half away. We're going to spend the rest of the 2nd of February frantically trying to get transfers through before the window shuts. And then hopefully by the start of the next episode, which will be that game that I mentioned against Newtow, the start of the domestic league in Tuvalu, hopefully we'll have a somewhat decent squad. Well, not really somewhat decent. It'll still be an awful squad, but hopefully we'll have some okay players. Maybe we can even bring in some players who are real, because everybody in my squad right now, they're regens basically. So yeah, that's everything I really wanted to talk about for the start of this series, guys. It was a little bit of a rambling episode, but there was a lot of stuff, a lot of sort of unrelated stuff that I kind of had to piece together piecemeal. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back for the second episode when we'll see some actual gameplay with Hell's Teeth FC in these amazing orange, red, and black kits that I was really, really happy about how they turned out in the end, guys. Bet they're going to look sweet in the game engine for FM17. But that is it for today, guys. Please please subscribe, and please come back for episode 2 of The Triumph.